This is the limitless Keith Lee.
This is Brody King.
This is Angel Garza.
Will Ospreay.
Hornswoggle.
Pentagon Jr.
The Mexican Ray Phoenix.
King Ricochet.
Concrete Rose, Sunny Kiss.
And I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the Busted Wide Open.
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 Boston Wide Open.
Busted Wide Open. Thank you.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome, everybody, to BWO Live, coming to you from across the Busted Wide Open universe of Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. This is the BWO Mailbag, episode number 89. 89 of these, Ian, we've done now. My name is Nick Howell.
God, I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and yes, we are here to answer your questions. That's
Ian,
right.
I got a popsicle.
You can head on over to... Why do you have a popsicle?
Because they're yummy.
That's terrible for broadcasting. They're yummy, but they make your mouth cold, and then it's hard to enunciate. It's hard to actually say anything, and your voice sounds weird. What are you doing?
I don't know. I figured it would be a fun little hangout, and this is casual time.
This is the professionalism that we have on Busted Wide Open. Jesus Christ. Just head on over to patreon.com/BWO or to YouTube. You can sign up either one of those places for one of our tiers. And either way, if you sign up for our reward tiers, it's sometimes as low as 99 cents. You can ask a question on this here show. And it's that easy. It's that simple. And then if you can ask that question, and then we are beholden to answer that question on this here very show. It could be about whatever you want. Typically, of course, we are a wrestling show, but it doesn't have to be wrestling related. It is an AMA format. You can ask about us. You can ask about our taste and other things besides wrestling. We can ask about current events, whatever. We'll talk about anything. But yes, typically it's wrestling related. But yeah, head on over to those places, ask the questions, and come back here and listen to the show. And you might hear your question answered. You probably will hear your question answers because we try to answer every question that we get. You can watch us live on Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube. We do go live after our Tuesday night Raw recap show. Usually it's about 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. If you want to check us out live, as many people are right now. Hello, everyone in the chat. Hello, thank you for joining us. You are here to witness us answer your questions, something which, Nick, we should get started with right now.
Yes, well, kicking us off as he likes to do, the Mop Man himself started things off today. And he said, hello, gentlemen and phenomenal ones. Much love as always to the both of you and everyone out there listening. My moment of positivity this week, and every week for that matter, is all of you. We really do have an amazing community here, constantly sharing, having a good dialogue. Kudos to all of you, because the internet wrestling community can be very toxic, and you are all from that. And you all are from that.
Far from that.
You all are. I think he means you're far from that. Yes.
That's what I think, yes.
I'm going to interpret.
Yeah.
The Twitter thread Sir Ian shared was so amazing to read. He's referring to the Hangman Page thread that you shared.
Wasn't that great? So I
read through it too. It was fascinating. It's what I was saying last week, right?
Great.
Or Friday, I think we talked about this.
We were talking about like the whole arc of everything and how it was starting to come back around. We were discussing whether it was too soon or too late. And that thread really put into context how it really has evolved to. I think it is actually in a good place, after kind of looking back at everything. Gentleman on Twitter put together kind of an entire like moment by moment history of Hangman Page's arc, and Hangman even retweeted it today. Something he's done in the past. He'll do it in character, in kayfabe, where he's like, God, I can't believe this journalist is treating my life like some sort of weird story. It sucks. But of course, he's retweeting it. It's a wonderful, 4 levels of meta kayfabe. It's I love it. And I love
meta
all the people.
Kayfabe, that's a new one.
Totally. I love all the people that are like mad at him because he's calling the person who made this thread an asshole, when obviously, if someone was distilling your life down to a bunch of bullet points as to why you were failing at everything and you were due to have a redemption story, you'd be kind of irritated by it too. But so many people are getting caught up in that and working themselves into a shoot brother. It's the whole thing is fascinating. It's a really well put together thread that hits a lot of points and really does kind of draw into perspective how good this Hangman Page story has been. Like probably one of the most involved character arcs that we've seen in wrestling in decades. Yep. It's fantastic.
Yep.
So thank you, Kyle. I'm glad you dug it, brother, because you are the man of the mops, the top of the pops, the cream of the crops. You can't ever stop. You ain't never flop. We all wait for the good vibes to drop. We thank you very much, Kyle. Sean, each and every week. Kyle St. Kyle's over hitting us up over in the Twitter, the Twitch as well. Both of y'all are fantastic. Yep. Sean, love you as always. Thank you so much, my man. Very much appreciated.
He said it put a huge smile on my face to read through the investment I made in the character and to know that they have his arc with a direction feels so rewarding. Why don't you think WWE is rewarding? Now, don't get me wrong. I know the talent there is there and delivering good to sometimes great matches. But outside of Roman, you don't see that. Even NXT with its awesome storytelling and pacing just doesn't often feel, quote, rewarding, if that makes sense. How do they fix it? Once again, much love. Thank you, Sean. How do they
it's a great
fix
question.
the nature of... We talk about it in the context of wanting to invest in something, like really wanting to dig in and dig our teeth into some kind of feud or storyline or something. And he's right. There's not been something like that for some time.
Well, hold on a second. Because I want to talk about just the concept of being rewarding, right? Because he's even saying we're getting awesome storytelling. NXT with its awesome storytelling and pacing just doesn't often feel, quote, rewarding. And that I think he's referring to payoffs. He's referring to big cathartic moments where you feel like everything that you've done has been in service of getting you to that moment, and there's this release, there's this catharsis that you
Daniel
get.
Bryan winning at WrestleMania 30. Kofi Mania.
Daniel Bryan, Kofi Mania. John Cena returning at Royal Rumble. Whatever it is, big moments where you just go, oh!
AJ Styles debuting at Royal Rumble.
Sure. Seth Rollins cashing in at WrestleMania 31. Whatever it is, right? Big payoff moments, rewarding moments where you go, God, I'm so happy I watch wrestling. And it's the reason that everyone still watches. It's the reason that there's still 2 million people that tune into WWE TV every week and nearly 1 million that tune into AEW, 750,000 tune into AEW. There's a fan base out there for this kind of storytelling. And it does come down to storytelling and the nature of storytelling and why we get invested in stories and why we want to actually invest our time in a story is to feel that at some point, whether you want to take Aristotle's perspective on it and the idea of catharsis and the idea of experiencing another story in order to then have a release in yourself, a feeling of either community or accessibility to someone else's story, whether it's that or whether it's actually just being excited by something awesome. I look at like Nick, come back at me here with 3 moments in movies where you popped really hard, like the 3 big like hell yeah moments for you in movies.
Obviously, Sigourney Weaver coming out in the crane suit thing at the end.
Get away from her, you bitch. Yep.
Yeah, just
right.
You put me on the spot here. 3 big.
Well, you think about some other ones. I'll talk about that one.
Brad Pitt revealed that Tyler Durden was really inside Ed Norton. That was a huge pop moment for me in Fight Club. And definitely that's
twist.
One of those where I went, oh, whoa, what a mind job, right? I kind of just, that was a moment because I bit hard on that one.
Hold on. Did you feel that was a payoff or like you were all of a sudden reinvested in the story? It's a plot twist. I'm talking about payoff moments. Because Get Away From Her, You Bitch is definitely a payoff reward moment. That's a reward moment for all the tension that they've built up for the entire movie, for the mother-daughter relationship that Sigourney Weaver's built with Newt. That's the payoff for all of that. And Sigourney Weaver finally comes back as the revenging hero. She's now on an equal footing in terms of physicality with the mother alien. She can come back and you go, yes, I am rewarded for investing in that relationship with Sigourney Weaver and Newt. I'm rewarded for believing in Sigourney Weaver and her ability to overcome the odds and the fact she's an underdog babyface against the aliens. That's the moment she comes back and proves you right for believing in her. It's truly a rewarding moment. It's not what Tyler Durden.
I get you.
In Fight Club. If you want a rewarding moment, it's Ed Norton blowing his face off and killing Tyler Durden.
It's
That's
Hawkeye's phone ringing after they've succeeded at bringing everybody back at the end of Endgame. Spoiler alert. Sorry
Yes.
if you hadn't seen it yet. In 2 years, go watch Endgame.
2 years. You got. It's Iron Man snapping his fingers.
No, but so to me, that wasn't the cathartic moment. It was seeing that it actually worked. Right.
That's one. There was like 18 in a row.
They did a bunch of them.
Endgame was just all reward. At the last hour of that movie was just all reward.
Cap catching the hammer, right? Avengers Assemble. Finally, we heard it. Oh my God!
Right. That's what I'm saying. It was just nonstop rewards for 27 movies or whatever it was. The Matrix, when Neo stands up and just stops the bullets. Just whoa, no. When he stands up and stops the bullets, that's a rewarding moment. Right? They're the big rewarding moments where all the time that you spent believing in those characters, being invested in their stories, believing that they're going to get to that point where they overcome the odds and they win. Right? That's what you're there for. You're there for those rewarding moments in all stories. What's the best season of Game of Thrones? It's the one where the good guys finally start coming back. When Jon Snow beats the shit out of the Bastard of Bolton is one of the most rewarding moments in TV history. I've watched that scene on repeat hundreds of times, just him smashing the Bastard of Bolton's face in over and over and over
I would say Sansa
again.
feeding him to the dogs. In an
Well,
interesting cathartic twist of irony there.
That I think is a much more subtle one. But yes, I think between the two, but again, his death is, spoiler alert, his death is a huge rewarding moment for all the time we've put in to suffering watching all the horrible shit that he did to everybody, right? So that's what we're looking for in wrestling. What are those moments? Where are those? When are we getting those big, oh God, the good guy finally triumphed. We finally get a payback on our investment for these characters. Why don't we see more of those? Right? And it's something that we criticize AEW about, is that they give us those too quickly and too fast. One of the reasons why Game of Thrones felt so good was because it took 6 goddamn seasons to get there, right? It takes a whole movie to get there for Neo, a whole movie to get there for aliens. So in wrestling, it's good to sometimes drag it out until, Goldberg finally beats Hulk Hogan, to drag it out until Daniel Bryan finally overcomes the Authority, to have these long, drawn-out builds until you finally get that release of, the good guy finally won. But unfortunately, we're not seeing those accomplished as well in WWE because they have this constant turn and burn cycle of storylines where there's never really an end. And so as a result, if you get to those high moments, sometimes they just get kind of churned up into the repeating storylines that WWE has, continuing. But also because they tend to do things last minute, we tend to not see them planned. You've got a structure for those to make those really feel earned, to really get a good build. It's why you see them so rarely, and when you do, they're when they do happen, they stand out so much, because WWE, as much as they think they're there to tell stories, they're really not very good at it, at least in terms of classic Western structure. And since it tends to be a much more simplified story structure in wrestling, and it's awesome to see long-term stuff like Hangman, which he brought up, which is a really long-term story, which is going to have a fantastic payoff because of how much time and effort's been put into it. You don't see that in WWE because they're not thinking long-term in the same kind of structured way. Yeah. Right? You're not laying foundations here in a structured way. The closest thing you're getting to that right now, as he says, is Roman Reigns. But that's a heel storyline. The best thing in WWE is this heel storyline.
Is it a question, though, that you have to build up the bigger monsters in order for those baby faces and those heroes to come along and finally get their moment?
You do.
We had to build up Evolution for a year before we could make it a big deal that Daniel Bryan overcame them.
But that's, you make a very good point. And that's the thing, is that they're way better at building up heels than they are at building up faces. They always have.
Whoever ultimately dethrones Roman Reigns, that's going to be a big deal because they've spent all this time investing in Roman Reigns.
It'll be a big deal, but will they be able to create a baby face that's engaging enough to the fans that we want to see Roman lose?
Okay, we haven't yet.
No one even close. I mean, Drew's the closest one, and they're kind of bungling him by making him a goofy drunk uncle. They don't know how to build good baby faces. And as a result, that's one of the components you need for those arcs to happen. You got to care about Neo. You got to care about Ripley in order to have those moments mean something. You know, you can still get a piece of it if goofy drunk Uncle Drew McIntyre came out and said, "Get away from her, you bitch!" Right now, you'd be like, I mean, cool, yeah.
Would he be
Drew,
in the giant? Hang on. Would he be in the suit?
Oh my, you nerd.
I'm not an Aliens fan or anything. I'm just saying.
No. You only named your dog Ripley.
You only half-sleeved my arm with that scene, right?
Right. But again, like that's part of it is having a good baby face. And right now, like we can't really engage with Drew because he's being kind of a dork. We don't want to engage with dorks. We want to engage with people that are strong and capable and smart and just happen to be up against impossible odds. Like Ripley in Aliens. She's trapped in the building. She's against impossible odds, but she's still sitting there, you know, looking at Newt and going, the two of us are able to do more than all of these supposedly trained Marines put together. That makes her the baddest ass person in the movie, and she's still outmatched by the aliens. So, of course, yeah, you want a big monster for them to fight against, and then when they overcome that or get up to their level and match them, you're rooting for them. You feel rewarded for all the time you invested. So why do I not think WWE is rewarding? It's a number of things, Sean. It's a lot of things, but it comes down to the fact that they're not creating storylines, and they're not creating stories, and they're not giving us characters that we can invest in order to go along with those characters on the journey to the moment when we'll get that reward. And NXT is the same thing, where they tend to be there. It's not, they haven't quite got the structure down where we're getting the big payoffs. It seems to be a little haphazard these days.
Especially since Ciampa Gargano. That was probably the last time they had something that was that meaningful.
Yeah, their tempo is just off with their storylines right now. It does seem to be a little haphazard. I do agree. And AEW is suffering in a lot of places from the same thing, where they're being a little haphazard with some of their stories. It's tough to get the rhythm of the story. Who is, you know, where is the good guy and the bad guy in the struggle at this moment? It's hard to really put the finger on it. I even New Japan, I think everyone's a little off. And honestly, I'm willing to say the pandemic is throwing everyone a bunch of monkey wrenches. Let's give them 6 months. Let's give them some crowds when they can get that feedback, because so much of that of that is the crowds that helps accentuate these stories and accentuate all the points, that the highs and the lows, and it gives them feedback on what's working and what's not. Let's give them 6 months. Let's see where everyone's at. Maybe all the products will become more rewarding.
Hope so.
Hope so too.
Thank you very much, Mop Man. Next up, Mr. Marshall Inlow says, "What's up, fellas? With real crowds returning, how should booking decisions be dealt with now that there will be a clear, complete segue to what you were just saying?"
Look at that.
Let's see, where did I go? How should booking decisions be dealt with now that there will be a clear reaction to how over or not over someone is? I feel like for the first few months, the reactions will be all over the place just for the excitement of being there. Appreciate you guys. Looking forward to seeing a real fan environment again. Thank you, Marshall.
Amen, Marshall. Looking forward to it as well. I think we're going to see a lot of changes based on fan reactions. I think fan reactions are really going to inform both companies on what's working and what's not. But I do agree there may be a bit of bias for the first couple of months because everyone's just so damn happy to be there. But if you look at WrestleMania, you had fans. I mean, from what we could, obviously people that were there, they were still, you know, throwing in a bunch of fakery. WWE was for us people watching at home, fake crowd noise and the like. But I feel, you know, it's still going to affect people backstage and the higher ups and the bookers in WWE if someone's going out there and not getting the reaction that they anticipated, or not getting as much of a reaction, or getting more of a reaction than they anticipated. How should booking decisions be dealt with? The way they've always dealt with them, like go with the crowd. Even if you're sitting there saying, you know, I have a feeling that WWE will go with the crowd. Like they're not going to say, well, they're just being, you know, happy that people are back, unless WWE already has a bias in that direction. You know, if for example, Jackson Riker goes out there to crickets, you know, and they're biased to wanting to keep him pushed, it's easy for, you know, anyone who's kind of in their own insular universe like Vince is to turn around and go, oh, well, they just need to get used to him. They're not used to him yet. They've got to take some time. You know, the crowds have been out for a while. You can make up any excuse you want.
When crowd comes back, the priorities shift back to from putting on a good show that's manageable and malleable to whatever they want to we got to draw the door again. And you're going to have to put like big monsters up there, and you're going to have to have spectacles of sorts. It's going to have to go back to being the traveling circus. You have to create good
storylines. You have to have a good story. You can't have Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns close out a show and have the entire crowd shit on it and shout boring and go, beat the traffic. You can't they're gonna screw up and they're gonna have that again. I'm just warning everyone right now. But they have so much goodwill with the fans right now that they're going to have a lot of people who are just happy to be there and willing to take a lot. A lot of stuff that they normally wouldn't. So it is kind of contingent on them to really go out with their best foot forward. Will they?
I'm anxious to see if they can adjust back to not controlling the music and the boos and the cheers. If they can go back to that being organic rather than piping it in, even though we know that they've piped it in with crowds anyway.
I wonder how much they'll try to affect the crowd noise and try to turn the crowd down and pipe it up.
Or if they feel like that their music could influence the crowd in one way, influence the mob in one direction. So if they start playing in piped in boos, are you as a fan sitting in the crowd going to think that that's other people booing and you're going to start booing and that's infectious, right?
Will they pipe it in? Will they pipe it in live? Yeah, that's the real question too, which they have done in the past. All kinds of trickeration to just create their own world.
Yep. Exactly.
And especially if they're in some sort of bizarro world town that just for whatever reason doesn't want to get behind the storylines that WWE's presenting them. I wonder why. How dare these people not, fall in rank and file with what Vince
Probably
wants.
Not a good idea to go through Des Moines when Seth Rollins is this shitbag heel, and all he's going to do is get cheered, right?
They've done that. I mean, how many years have they done that?
I know. I'm just giving an example.
Bret Hart goes back to Canada as a shithead heel, but Canada just will never not shield
or Kevin Owens,
Hart.
right?
So you treat the crowd as though they're a heel crowd. That's what you do. But I prefer that they treat him as a heel crowd as opposed to try to pipe stuff in and try to alter reality.
Exactly.
But Marshall makes a good point. It's going to be really interesting to see how they deal with booking based on the crowds that they get, and if the crowds are going to be more accepting of stuff they normally wouldn't be, and if that changes WWE's decision making in terms of how they book people.
I have a little bit of a different perspective too. I think that there will be some people that might be a little bit spiteful as well and just try to troll from the crowd. I'm wondering if the crowds will troll WWE with chants that they wouldn't normally do so. That's the interesting part to me, is how all of this is going to turn out. Are we going to have organic, actual excitement, or are we going to have basically trolling cheers of sorts over and over again?
I don't think there's enough of those going to these shows, to be honest with you.
Thank you, Marshall. Next up, Jess O'Connor. We've got to do an update on the anime, Nick's anime adventure. It says, hey, y'all. Nick, I got one anime for you to try, please. It's called Death Note. The 2006 series is on Netflix and Tubi right now. It's a little more mainstream and one of my first animes to watch. Don't watch the live action just yet. It's not good, in my opinion.
It's not good.
So I'll pause right there and just get. I did finish Ninja Scroll, which was the first one you assigned to me at my behest, and I gotta say it's fun to watch. It's cool to see that kind of 80s animation back. I've been revisiting like G.I. Joe and Transformers, the original series, and I'm looking forward to going back and watching the all the WB or Warner Brothers animated series for Batman and like Green Lantern and those that have been remastered. They're out on Blu-ray now, by the way. I've picked all those up, so looking forward to watching those again. But I gotta say, man, the anime stuff is just it's not hitting where I hoped it would hit. Like it's cool, but I just think it's not for me. Kyle in the chat saying no, don't do Death Note. That's too far down the rabbit hole.
It's pretty far down the rabbit hole, but it's really good until halfway through the animated series, where they just make probably the biggest blunder in terms of plot twists that I've ever seen in anything ever. It's the worst. It's the dumbest plot twist ever. And then the rest of the show is ruined as a result. And one of the main characters they lose the plot off of who he is. It takes everything that's good about the show and completely shits on it. They completely bungle that show, Death Note, halfway through. The first half is some of the best anime I've ever seen. The second half is complete garbage.
Okay. Anyway, on to my question. Please assign dog breeds to the following wrestlers. Oh, okay. So we've got a kind of a lightning round here that we have to do dog breeds for each of these wrestlers. All right. Are you ready, sir? Ian Dangerous.
Oh, wow. I got to think about dog breeds. Okay.
And of course, we've got to do this.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Roman Reigns. Assign a dog breed to Roman Reigns.
Rottweiler.
Yeah, easily. Big E.
I hate this music. I hate you right now so much. Burmese Mountain Dog.
Big E. I'm trying to think of what the... I'm going to give Boxer to Big E. Because they're kind of erratic and high energy.
Okay.
Sami Zayn. The music's even messing with me.
See what you've done? Do you see what you've done?
Sami Zayn. Look down the list here. Sami Zayn is a Jack Russell Terrier. Kind of an asshole, very high energy.
Temperament?
Yeah.
In temperament, maybe not in size, but in temperament, sure. Yeah, all right, I'll go with that.
Kevin Owens. I'm going to give Kevin Owens English Bulldog.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with you on that.
Seth Rollins.
Very good. Weimaraner. Very slick looking, a little bit of attitude, really strong though, like capable dog. Looks real pretty.
BWO official Keiko often gets confused for a Weimaraner.
Well, once she grows up and puts a little heft on.
We're not convinced she will.
We'll see.
Let's see. Oh, I was thinking something else. I was thinking Poodle for Seth Rollins.
Poodle. I think there's other people that are going to be more poodles than him.
I don't know. We'll see. Sasha Banks. What are those dogs that cut that have the real straight hair that they cut like the skirt down to their feet? I don't know if they're Pomeranians. They're like Lhasa Apsos or Shih Tzus or something like that.
The Shih Tzus. Well, yeah, but she's not a Lhasa Apso. My parents had a Lhasa Apso when I was young.
They're curly hair.
She's not a Lhasa Apso. Like, I'm trying to think who would be a good example of like a Lhasa Apso wrestler. God, who would be a Lhasa Apso? Like Carmella would be like a Lhasa Apso.
All right.
Where she thinks she's a lot hotter than she is and just kind of has like this way of walking around.
But Sasha Banks?
I'm gonna go with Shiba Inu.
Ooh, that's a good one. The Doge.
Where
she's a Doge.
The Doge. She's a Doge.
Doge.
Yeah. Where she's very put together, very good looking. Maybe a little flashier than a Shiba Inu. But those dogs, if you very loyal one person dogs, you treat them the wrong way, they're very much of their own mind. Hard as hell to train. And you get on one's bad side, forget they will tear your arm off.
Are we talking about a Shiba Inu or an Akita?
Well, both, but But since Sasha's kind of little, I'm gonna go for Shiba.
There you go. Yeah, okay, Dog Ziggler concurs with you. So we
Dog Ziggler's weighing in. He's all here for this one.
Bailey. What was that, Ziggler?
What's that, Ziggler? Border Collie for Bailey? That's not a bad idea.
I'm gonna go. Do I want to save that one for? Yeah, I want to save that one for later. So, would you say Australian Sheepdog?
No, it's a Border Collie.
Okay. Bailey. I was gonna say Australian Sheepdog, but that one works. About the same thing. AJ Styles.
Ooh, Boston Terrier.
That's good.
Boston Terrier. Or, I mean, like Vince always talks about how AJ impressed him because he acted like a pit bull. but it'd have to be like I think more of like American Staffordshire Terrier, smaller pit bull. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll say an Amstaff for AJ. I think an American Staffordshire for AJ.
What kind of dog was Bud or Spot in the Bud Light commercials in the 90s? Do you remember that?
Oh
Spuds
yeah,
McKenzie.
he was a
What kind of dog
Spuds
was
McKenzie.
that?
No, there's another terrier. What the hell was the type? Bull was a bull terrier.
Bull
wasn't it?
Terrier. Yeah, that's what I'm going
Like a
with
bull
for
terrier?
AJ Styles.
Yeah.
It's like a Jack
he
Russell
had
on
s-
steroids. Yeah.
Right. But bull terriers are basically just American Staffordshires with goofy looking
Yeah,
faces.
big ears. Yeah.
And AJ has a very nice refined face. You know, it's as someone who sometimes gets told he looks like AJ Styles, I'm going to go with a very pretty dog like
course
American
you are.
Staffordshire Terrier. Of course I am.
All right. Here come the big boys. Bobby
Uh-oh.
Lashley.
Lashley, I'm going to go with
I was saving full-on pit, like the ones that you see that are just like diesel.
the big
Just
jacked
like
pits.
and they can't even move. They walk funny. But they're just
I was gonna go with English Mastiff, but they tend to be a little bit more dopey.
not that. There's something regal about them too. There's
I was like there's like a giant like Shanky or a Moss or something like that would
Yeah.
be an English Mastiff. Yeah, okay, giant pit bull for Lashley.
Drew McIntyre.
Great Dane.
Yeah,
Or an Irish setter, like just a big dog.
yeah. I get Irish setter. That's a good one.
Okay,
Semi-Scottish.
right. Irish setter born in Scotland.
There is a Scotty or a Scottish Terrier.
Yeah, they're little
Yeah,
guys.
Little
though.
guys.
They're little
Or the
cute.
Westies, I think, are the other ones.
Yeah.
Mercedes Martinez.
Again, go with another like little angry fighting dog for her. Maybe she could be the Akita. Except they're too pretty looking. Like she looks more like rough and tumble, Maybe like a miniature pincher,
A Min Pin. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. like a little
Yeah.
Doberman.
That's good. I had one of those 20 years ago. Shit all over the house. Could not housebreak that dog for the life of me.
Well, hopefully that's not the case with Mercedes Martinez, and hopefully she's
BWO official Keiko took to it in 2 weeks. It was amazing. Io Shirai.
Ah, shit, that's the Shiba Inu, isn't it? Okay, so Sasha's a Bichon Frise,
Oh, okay, here. What?
and then Io Shirai can be the Shiba Inu.
Yeah, there you go. Damien.
Damien Priest.
Oh, Jesus Christ, he's right there. He's right behind me. Maybe like a big Doberman?
I was gonna
German
say
Shepherd?
Doberman for Damien Priest. Doberman and Pincher. Yeah.
Yeah, a little slicker looking than a German Shepherd.
Who coincidentally is what I was gonna use.
We
for
can't-
The
we-
Miz.
I was gonna call him a Cane Corso, but we already called Karrion Cross that. And nothing's better than the alliteration of Karrion Cross, Cane Corso.
Yeah. Beautiful dogs, by the way.
So, Damien Priest, Doberman Pinscher.
Perfect.
Works.
The Miz, I've got German Shepherd.
What? No, he's a golden retriever.
Yeah, all right.
Just dopey and floppy.
Yeah,
and,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. And John Morrison, I've got as one of my, I think what might be my next dog one of these days.
John Morrison.
A cattle dog.
Well, like
Steve
an
Ziegler
Australian.
agrees with
No,
me.
Dog Ziegler. He's disagreeing. He's violently
Oh, okay.
disagreeing. He was not happy with the cattle dog.
I love cattle
Do you
dogs.
have a
And I think that
do you
same
have a-
kind of personality as Morrison.
better idea there? He's actually mad at the Miz. He said the Miz should be a beagle.
That's funny.
That's not a bad idea there, Dog
That's
Ziegler.
a good one.
That's actually very good job, boy. Good bull. Yeah. Okay.
What do you got for John Morrison?
See, yeah, Morrison. Yeah, I'll go. You know what? I'll go with an Australian cattle dog. I'll go with that. Very, very high energy. Always wants to go do something really good at outdoor sports. Yeah, no?
No, he's agreeing.
Oh, okay. What's that, boy? Timmy fell down the well? Okay, we'll get him after the show. Jesus.
Well, there you go, Jess. There is all the answers for you. For dog breeds for all of the wrestlers. Thank you very much for the question. That was fun.
Just had to know. Yeah, thank you for weighing in on that, boy.
Yeah.
Got all riled up about that, didn't you?
Next up, Alex Washington says, what's good, Phenomenal Pod Fathers? Hope all is well. Haven't posted a question in a while, but still listening every week. Not really a good lord. Look, everyone, Dog Ziggler.
Dog Ziggler. Yes.
Yes.
You wanted attention? You got it, boy.
Ziggy. Oh, it's a good boy. Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Puppies.
Ridiculous dog.
Let's see. Where was he at? Not really a question. This, just wondering if you both would each book your ideal Money in the Bank winner, man and woman, and how they would cash in and who would end up taking the title from them. Also, Nick, I know you've been trying to get into some anime. You should check out 7 Deadly Sins on Netflix. It's very mild when it comes to animes, but also really good. Lots of fantasy lore involved, too. What say you about 7 Deadly Sins?
It falls apart in the later seasons so far, but it's also pretty far down the rabbit hole. If you can't handle Ninja Scroll, man, you're not going to be able to handle 7 Deadly Sins.
Nothing's like, it's cool, but nothing's really like grabbing me to invest in, unfortunately. So I'm willing to try if you.
How do you not get invested in Ninja Scroll? You're so odd.
It's odd in and of itself. So here's my interpretation of the plot of Ninja Scroll.
Oh,
there's this good guy that is trying to fight off bad villains. He runs into this girl who's got a poison vagina and can't do anything can't do anything with her. Ultimately ends up using that to kill big bad stone guy who had, I think, what was the coolest death in the movie, where he
ate his own sword.
Where he took his sword to the head and then slid down it. That was pretty cool.
Yep.
But then Ninja Guy is getting double crossed by Mr. Miyagi, whatever that the guy is that's trying to lure him to join the club, and I
did you actually watch the
movie?
movie?
I got all the way through it. The fight scene at the end
like
was
a whole
fantastic.
ninja...
I'll give you that.
Okay.
I didn't really follow like who was on whose side and different clans and clubs and all of these. There's moving chess pieces in it that I didn't quite get my head around without a second viewing.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Japanese history that you need to know to kind of make it make more sense. It is actually based, obviously, very loosely in real Japanese history. Toyotomi versus Tokugawa, and the shogunate wars of the 1600s. But it's kind of like it'd be kind of like a historical movie in the U.S. where it's like, well, are you on the side of the redcoats or the rebels? Just kind of basically referencing that without really getting into real life politics. Right. It's kind of the same sort of thing where it's creates more of an environment. But I'm kind of surprised that you weren't like into a lone Ronin, trying not to get involved in something. And there's this whole conspiracy theory involving Shogun's Gold and a ninja group that's all supernatural.
They're all like in the shadows,
overpowered dudes.
Yeah,
the Shadow Ninja Clan. Yeah, and they all have like superpowers, and one guy is immortal. And how do you kill a guy who's literally unkillable? I don't know. I'm shocked you weren't into it. Shocked and disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Oh, straight to the heart. Who's your Money in the Bank winner for men and women, and how would they cash in? And who would end up taking the title from them? I think what he's asking is, would they be successful at their cash in?
He's talking about our ideal Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I mean, you fantasy book Money in the Bank out of who we've been given so far. Who's the winner and who do they challenge?
Isn't he saying like ideal in terms of like ever or just this year?
If you both would each book your ideal Money in the Bank, I'm assuming he's meaning this year's, because it's next weekend. This year's roster.
Okay.
For me, it'd be Ricochet. For the men's.
I'd have to say Ricochet too. Yeah, I got to go Ricochet too because of all of the guys in the men's, Barring maybe Big E. Those are the two guys where I sit there and go, for someone to be an ideal Money in the Bank winner. We talked about this before, Nick, about what the philosophy of Money in the Bank should be. And it's why we were so, to be different than other people out there, like why we were so psyched that Otis got it last year. And obviously it went how it went. But the idea is to put a spotlight on an up-and-coming wrestler and give someone a shot at the title. And unfortunately, it's become a thing where if you don't cash in and if you lose it, it's a big, bad mark on your career to have failed to cash in. So that's a problem. Basically, if you win it, you kind of have to be ready to be a champion. And that's why usually we look at it and say, okay, when we're picking it, who is someone who we can see being a champion? Because they're not going to put the briefcase in their hands unless they could be a champion. I don't think Ricochet is ready in WWE's booking to be a champion. Obviously, Nick, if you and I were booking WWE, there'd be a very different story. Even though both championship pictures on the main brands right now are full of big dudes who Ricochet, I don't think visually would look like he could stand up to. You have to do a lot of building of Ricochet to make him believable that he could stand up to either Bobby Lashley or Roman Reigns. Who could? Big E. Both guys. He could toe-to-toe either dude and be believable. So I'm going to actually go with this year. If we're just going for this year's and not just in general, I'm going to say Big E is probably the ideal one. He's someone who needs to take that next step into being a champion. And one way to do that is via Money in the Bank. But in his particular case, I kind of feel like I wouldn't want him to hold it a long time. He shouldn't be a 6-month Mr. Money in the Bank. Big E is the kind of dude who his character and everything else about him, he should cash in at the earliest possible convenience and do it to the champion's face. Not like run in after the champion is down. It should be, I want Money in the Bank. I want my title shot now. And have him go in there and and if you want to have him win or not,
here's a plot twist.
Go in, cash in.
Here's a plot twist.
What's that?
Who has a championship match the night of Money in the Bank?
Lashley and Kofi.
Kingston of the New Day. Big E wins Money in the Bank. Kofi can't get the job done, but does enough damage. Big E comes and cashes in and wins.
But do you want to have Big E be the kind of guy who's going to cash in on a wounded opponent?
I wouldn't be mad at it. I've been predicting the breakup of New Day for a long time, and I think we've all said that either Xavier or Big E would turn. I wouldn't be mad if Big E turned on the New Day and came and stole, if I can do air quotes and say stole, Kofi's championship from him. That's an interesting story.
I got one for you. I got a better one for you. Lashley beats Kofi at Money in the Bank. Monday Night Raw, Lashley comes out, and Big E wins Money in the Bank. Monday night, Lashley comes out to celebrate. He's in the ring with all the women, MVP. He's got an arm in a sling. He's kind of beat up, but he's mocking Kofi. Kofi comes out. He's also really beat up. Lashley runs his mouth at him. Kofi gets in the ring. Lashley beats him down. Big E comes out, cashes in right there, and says, I want you tonight. Get your gear on. You beat down my boy Kofi. You beat him up last night. You beat him now. I want this now. And then Lashley has the excuse of being beat up from the night before, but it's not at the moment, so it doesn't feel like Big E's being opportunistic. Now he has a revenge tale as well. So now you want to root for him because he's defending his friend from the New Day. But then, of course, he's got to change brands. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah. In terms of storyline, that would be a great way to get the title on Big E.
I agree.
And involve Kofi in the New Day.
I would love to see something where it would be an oh my God moment in the main event of the show. Big E cashing in at the end of, Kofi just not getting it done, but he didn't go down fast. Ooh. Yeah. What about the women's side? What are we looking at? Who's in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match right now? I don't even know that I know that.
It's pretty much their entire division, sure. Nick.
So
it's everyone but Nia and Tamina, or Natalya and Tamina, and Liv Morgan at this point. You've got Zelina Vega, Carmella, Nikki Ash, Alexa Bliss, Naomi, Asuka. I don't think Nia and Shayna are in it though.
Nor should
Strangely
they be.
I
I don't need them ruining that.
I don't know who the final member is though. Like if Liv Morgan gets in, who's the final
hot
person
take?
in there?
Sasha Banks come back on SmackDown Friday.
Also possible Shotzi Blackheart or Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox is cleared to return. Apparently that little battery charging thing might be for her. It's actually likely for her. So, but she might be getting called up.
Other than that, I'm going to say Nikki. Based on what they've...
You think Nikki gonna win?
If they really want to perpetuate the superhero thing that she's doing, that'd be a good way to do it and have her carry the briefcase.
Man, she ate a pin this week. They ain't perpetuating shit.
Fair enough. I'm not picking unless they're going to double down on Asuka again 2 years in a row. I don't see that happening. I'm waiting for SmackDown to see if Sasha comes back. I think Sasha could be in it, could be inserted, and could win Money in the Bank.
My heavy number one is Zelina Vega.
Interesting.
Just came back. They had to entice her back with something. She's got the mic skills to be able to promo all year or however long they want about being Miss Money in the Bank. They just had her beaten in her first match back, so they kind of owe her one with that, unless they want to just bury her out the gate.
Right? They were trying to swerve.
That's what I'm saying. They're swerving us. Zelina, I think, is for me a heavy likely favorite to win.
I agree with that. And there's 2 more spots open, I think is what it is. So we could potentially have Sasha and Shotzi or Tegan or Liv. I think there's a strong possibility Liv is one of those 2 spots after what she's been through the last couple of weeks. I don't know. Friday's going to be an interesting show. We'll see what happens. We got 2 more shows.
And I could see Bianca defending that title for a few months and then ultimately getting cashed in on and lose it to Zelina. Yep. And that's your way of getting it off of Bianca, is to have her cashed in on.
Good way, and
cleanest way to get off.
Have her beat down by somebody, and she comes out with an opportunistic cash in. Would be perfect for her character. All that good stuff. Yeah, it almost always works better with heels with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Being opportunistic and taking that kind of approach.
Yeah, good guys should by nature cash it in quicker.
Like you were saying with Big E, confront head on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, as opposed to like heels hold them for longer because they're waiting for the opportunistic moment. That's what heels do.
Thank you very much, Alex. Good to see you back, man.
Thank you very much.
Brandon Mullet King Monroe writes in and says, "Hey, great ones. Hope you all are well. Rules of this game is you get to ask only one question to a selection of past or present wrestlers that I give you."
Ooh.
Oh, okay. So we need got another little round here.
Oh, for God's sake!
If you could ask one question, I'm gonna give you a list of names, and you're only allowed to ask them one question. What would it be?
Stop sweating from last time, you son of a bitch.
Triple H. What's the one question you would ask Triple H?
I'm trying to. Okay, so I'm wondering whether I'm going to take this seriously or be like a dumbass, and not take this seriously and be like, oh, how did Katie Vick taste?
Ew.
I'm gonna go with let's be serious. Let's be serious about this. Let's not goof all around about it. Let's seriously okay. We get an interview with Triple H. What's the one question we ask?
Obviously, it could be steered in the direction of, hey, when are you taking over for Vince? All that stuff. The first thing that popped in my head, what were some of the craziest ideas you came up with for DX that you never got to do?
Let's actually add the caveat to Brandon's thing here. We get to ask them one question, but they have to answer honestly.
Yes.
Like this, they are compelled to answer honestly. The power of Christ compels.
They've got the lasso of whatever it's called wrapped around.
The lasso, right? Wonder Woman's lasso of truth is wrapped around.
It's got a name. I just can't remember the name off the top of my head.
I know. Whatever. Triple H has to answer a question honestly.
Yeah. What was the craziest thing that you never got to do for DX? What program? What stunt? Because they did some pretty crazy shit, right? And I'm wondering what got left on the cutting room floor that they really wanted to do.
I have a couple that I'd be curious to ask. I mean, it's a matter of which one, and it mostly has to do with the relationship between NXT and main roster. And I think the one I'm going to go with is, what is the end goal for NXT?
Ooh.
Because right now I feel it's nebulous. Like it's just kind of there.
Yeah.
It's not really being treated by WWE as a third brand. They do whenever it's convenient for them, but it's really the redheaded stepchild of the company. It's not really developmental anymore because you're getting people ready to be in the ring, but it's hit or miss whether or not anything that they develop as far as character or presentation is kept on the main roster. So it's not like they're being prepared for the main roster or to just go brand to brand in the same package that they are in NXT. And I mean, it's not exactly a money winner for WWE either. It's been operating in the red for most of the time that it's been around. So what's the end goal? What's your plan here? Are you just basically, is Daddy Vince just giving you a little sandbox to go play in so you don't bother him in the big boy's house?
I think the original plan for it, if I had to guess, it'd be interesting to hear his answer. He wanted to reestablish. We heard rumors they wanted to reestablish the territory. So NXT UK, we got that. He wanted to do NXT Japan, probably down in Australia. Sure. We wanted to make it a global brand out of that.
He's got one. He's got NXT UK.
Yeah.
That's all he's achieved so far. Did the pandemic stop him?
I mean, that was about the time we were talking about it.
Well, and this is the thing: is that what's the end goal for NXT? What is the what was your original goal for NXT? What is your current goal for NXT? Where do you realistically think it's going?
I think going to live on USA was also a big deal. I think it probably put some weight on them that they weren't expecting. I feel like when they were just on the WWE Network, they owned it all. They had all the free reign. They had all the rights to everything across the board. Hot take, I think going to USA was a mistake. I think going live on USA was a mistake.
It hurt them. It hurt them in their perception in the company. It hurt them in their perception to a lot of the fans. It was not good for them. Agreed.
Okay, we got to do a lot of these, so we can't spend that much time on every single one of these.
Okay, all right.
MJF.
Oh.
What's the one question we would ask MJF?
With him, I'd actually like to know who his dream match would be against and how it would go down. Like any wrestler in history, who would be his dream match?
Can you imagine how hot a 1989 NWA World Champion Ric Flair versus modern day MJF feud would be between the two of them?
Man,
just the promos.
Well, what would you ask him?
Why Burberry?
Because it works. That's the answer. Who else do we have to ask questions of? Asuka. Damn, she is such a fascinating person.
I haven't seen many interviews with Asuka before. She even in Japanese and subtitled. I don't know of any where she's done any, Broken Skull Session kind of equivalent. Where she's been, but she's got a 20-year career. Where's
and that's just in wrestling, let alone her ice skating, let alone her work with video games, let alone her work on YouTube, let alone her all the other stuff that she does. She's a fascinating person if you look into her. And she keeps a lot of that on the DL in WWE. She's a mom.
I didn't know that.
Never even heard about her personally.
Keeping it kayfabe. I love it. I don't know what I would ask Asuka.
Where do you see yourself in 40
Why did you not want to drop the title before going up to main roster?
Yeah, whose decision was that?
How did that all play out?
I'm gonna say 20 years. Where do you see yourself in 20 years? That's what I would want to know.
Are you going to continue to work in the wrestling business? Behind the scenes?
Where do you see yourself in 20 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the things that you plan on doing in 20 years?
That's a good one too, Kyle. Why did you never really work with Stardom? you know, being from Japan, all of that stuff. Like you think it would be kind of obvious, but that's a good question. Let's see who's up next. Karrion Kross, formerly known as Killer Kross.
Yes.
What would you ask Karrion Kross? What a lot of these people that are on here, I would want to understand where their head's at and what their long game was. Are you just paycheck to paycheck, showing up to work each week and doing what they tell you to do, or do you have, you know, your own personal ambitions of things and programs that you'd like to do or people you'd like to work with? Like I'd want to ask Karrion Kross, are you at your peak yet? It feels like he's peaking right now.
You can guarantee that he doesn't feel like he's peaking.
I just don't know if there's more for him to do on the main roster. So forget putting, you know, shunning Scarlett to the side, or will they get his entrance right and all that stuff. I'm worried, have we seen all that Karrion Kross can give already in NXT? And I would want to understand, like, who does he want to face? What's his ideal program look like on main roster? Because it's a no-brainer. He's going to main roster, I think, within the next year, if not sooner. I think he could be a surprise entrant in the Rumble in 6 months. I don't know. I don't know enough about him to ask him any more than that. Do you feel like you've reached your peak? What have you got left after this? Would be my question to him. What about you?
Well, first of all, what I want to do, I want to ask him if any of his tattoos are in support of white supremacy, because he does have a couple of questionable tattoos that really keep me from really investing in him. But that's not something that I think I'm going to really invest in for this show right here in terms of asking Karrion Kross. I think with him, what is the most important martial art you've ever studied?
Okay.
What's the one that changed you the most? Because I feel like he's taken a lot of philosophy. Like this is a guy who was raised in gyms, and he's been involved in some sort of combat sport nearly his entire life in one way or the other. He has absorbed a lot of that culture and a lot of the culture of the people that practice them. And I'd be curious what shaped his philosophy and his personality the most.
That's good.
That'd be mine. Who else do we have?
Let's see. Charlotte Flair.
Oh, man.
I think I said the same one about Dustin Rhodes. What was it like growing up under Dusty? What was it like growing up as Dusty's kid? I would ask the same thing for Charlotte. And the problem with Charlotte is in interviews, you never know whether she's telling keeping it kayfabe or whether she's being real. I'd love to hear, some real. Has Charlotte been on Stone Cold? I don't think so.
Not yet. She's been. They went out on a ride on the beach together, but it wasn't Broken Skull, I don't think.
I mean, they just had Bailey on there.
Another show of his.
And Sasha, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was keeping it whatever was keeping it Stone Cold, or whatever one they had where like Becky and Stone Cold went out and drank beers, and she was on that show, the TV show, but she wasn't on Broken Skull. What would I ask Charlotte?
What was it like growing up as Rick's kid?
What would your career be what would your career be like if your brother were still alive?
Would you have still become a wrestler if it weren't for your father?
That's what I'm saying. What would you be doing?
You were a professional or amateur volleyball player.
Yeah, she was still very athletic.
6'1", I believe.
But Reed passing away, she says, was her motivator to get into wrestling
because
and kind of honor his memory.
He wanted to be his dad so bad.
Yeah,
that's the story of Reed, right? He was the protege. He was going to be the next Flair.
I would want to know, honestly, if she felt that, like, what she would be doing if he were alive.
Did she feel somehow obligated to fill those shoes with his untimely passing? Yeah.
An honest answer as opposed to, a sanitized answer. Who else we got?
Ric Flair.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I've heard everything that I would want to ever ask from Ric Flair in the 30 for 30 that they did with him, I believe. And he did the Broken Skull session too. So all of their, like, I ate that up like popcorn. Just him talking to Stone Cold about 80s territory stuff, and like, yeah, the one with Ric Flair with them coming up, and they both talking about the differences in coming up and the territories and all that. Like, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that Ric Flair hasn't already publicly said.
What about this? Outside of wrestling, what is your greatest success and your greatest failure?
Appearing in rap videos.
Both. That's both his greatest success and his greatest failure.
No, his greatest failure is doing car insurance commercials that he's doing right now.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He's got bigger ones than that, I'm sure. But that'd be what I'd like to know, honestly. What else?
The New Day.
Who else we got? Ooh, all three.
Let's assume that they're all three together. Yeah.
How mad? Like, okay, I'm trying to think how to phrase this. How do you square being in a company that oftentimes can be very racist, with the current state of politics and with your own kind of moral compasses? How do you I don't know, how do you put all that together in your heads? Like, how do you continue to work for WWE when, like, they've openly said that when Vince first pitched them the New Day idea as being preachers, they were like, well, that's racist. Like, Vince has gone through all his racist gimmicks. There's no way he could find another one. And then they're like, well, he did. And it's like, okay, well, if you feel that way, how can you keep working for that company? You know, they let you go out there with BLM armbands on and everything else. And you've essentially earned the freedom to do whatever you want by being successful and entertaining the crowds, and, you know, as MVP put it, shucking and jiving and entertaining people. But how do you square that with the fact that all three of these guys are obviously very passionate dudes politically?
Yeah. Like,
how do you square that? That would be the very serious question I ask them. Because I want to know. Because there's times where it makes me uncomfortable. I want to know, like, how do I watch it and not get uncomfortable?
That's a good one from Kyle as
are there
well.
Are there times?
Do you feel your legacy has been undermined by the fact WWE never built a tag team division around your success?
That's a
very good question. Because you basically had the Usos, and that was it.
And Sheamus and at the bar.
With the bar, sure. Which they were here for 15 seconds, and, you know.
They were here for a few years. They competed at WrestleMania against Braun Strowman and a kid, and they lost.
Let's see, a couple more. Dean Malenko.
Oh, man. What's the greatest match you never had?
That's a good one.
Because he had a lot of close calls.
That would be like one of those wild card questions that I want to ask each one of them. You know what I mean? At the bonus questions,
that's
right?
a good point. Yeah.
Dean Malenko. Another one would be like, who's your favorite to work with? Dean's had so many matches. Like, I'm trying to think of something specific to Dean, and I can't right now. Where did the whole 1,000 moves thing start? Or 1,000 holds thing start?
Oh, it's 1,000 holds. That's where it started.
Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho. Are you willing to apologize to Sir Ian Dangerous for putting him on blast on Twitter?
And it got picked up by Fox News.
Yes.
That's the one thing you would ask the Ayatollah of rock and roll. That's it.
I'm sure I could find
question.
something. I'm sure I could find something.
Not anything to do with 30 years of wrestling career.
Chris, shut up. Chris Jericho. That's tough because he's another guy who's answered a lot of these questions that I had of him. You know, he's a pretty open book, that guy.
A lot of people are wanting an explanation of what we're talking about. What did you tweet at Jericho that he retweeted and got pissed at?
It was
somebody he had on his podcast.
Yeah, he had someone on his podcast that I was like, really, you're gonna have them on? And he jumped back down my throat, and I didn't think that he should be platforming this person. And he was basically like, it's my show, I do whatever the hell I want, which is completely valid. You do. You lost respect for him for platforming this person, you know, just because you can have someone on to get their opinion. There are some people you can have on to have, you know, open discourse, and there's some people that are going to be on and just putting out propaganda and doing nothing constructive, and that was this person. And sure enough, the person was on, did nothing constructive. Chris asked nothing but softball questions, so this person's got platformed with no challenging of any of the dumb shit this person was spouting. So, you know, if you're going to have somebody on, ask them hard questions. I don't care what side they're on. This person just got put on, softballed, and I lost respect for Jericho as a result. And he put me on blast for saying that, and all his little Fox News cronies jumped down my throat.
No, it wasn't even that. You showed up on a blog post on foxnews.com.
I also showed up on foxnews.com.
It's your claim to fame, Surrey and Dangerous.
Good times.
Yeah, good times.
Good times. Yeah. Anyway.
Finally, hang on. What would I ask Chris Jericho?
Yeah, what would you ask Chris Jericho?
What was it like when he debuted against The Rock and I guess calling out Stephanie McMahon, and like, what was his debut like in coming to WWE? He had been working in WCW, like coming to WWE. What was or WWF at the time?
Yeah. He came to. What was weird is he was built up for however long. That was the weird thing. He came in hot. Had this huge entrance they've been building up for a while with the countdown clock and everything, and finally shows up, huge entrance, major pop, looks like $1 million, Rock's in the ring, he gets into a verbal spat with Rock, but what they don't like to talk about is the fact that at the end of that segment, Rock crushes him on the mic and leaves him looking like a dork at the top of the ramp, biting his lip and going, just got handed to it by The Rock, and he was treated like a joke for a while, and the locker room hated him because he was a WCW, defector. The creative hated him because he was a WCW defector. He had to work a long time to get anywhere in the WWE, and even when, on the night that he won the championships from both Stone Cold and Triple H in one night, or The Rock, in one night, and unified the championships and held both belts, he was then Stephanie's little bitch for the next 6 months, and he was treated like a joke and a guy who couldn't win a match. So he was booked horribly in WWE in terms of looking strong. He just happened to get a bunch of accolades that he could rest his laurels on historically. You know, and then they turn around and in the Monday Night War special, they make it look like their acquisition of him was some big deal. At the time, you know, he didn't move the needle at all, really.
Not with Stone Cold and The Rock around,
No. Not at all. It ended up being a good move for WWE in the long term, but they didn't treat him that way for the first couple of years he was there.
Kyle said, didn't he answer that question on the Broken Skull? Yes, he did to an extent, but I feel like it was sanitized a little bit. They let him say a lot on that Broken Skull session, surprisingly.
Let's put it this way.
I feel like that was sanitized.
WWE now is making him come to WWE look like a big deal, and it's making him look like a big deal. For him to go back and say he was disappointed in it would open that can of worms and make people go back and investigate it and realize how poorly they'd booked him at the time and what a goober he looked like. So it's almost better for him to leave history the way that they're rewriting it and make it look like, yes, I was a big deal when I came to WWE. It's just better for him.
Finally, one Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes. Which of your? This is answer honestly. This is Dusty Rhodes right now. Let's say we get on a Ouija board, and we ask Dusty Rhodes, which of your students or the people that you taught how to wrestle, and this could include. Actually, no. I'll say not including your sons, because obviously I think he'd be massively proud of both of them right now. Not including your sons, who is the student of yours that you are the most proud of?
Yeah.
Who is the person who you truly believe is like you have the most respect for, that you're the most proud that you trained?
I would say who did you think had the most potential that fulfilled their potential?
Sure, that's another way. That's a different way of putting it.
Because he could certainly have some favorites, but if you look at all the, like, the four horsewomen, right? All the people, all the Mercedes and I can't remember what Bailey's name is. Coming up through him, and like if you watch those early NXT tapes of him doing the training and stuff, they were terrible. Right? Most of them were terrible on the mic.
And they admit it now, yeah.
Bo Dallas, I think, was a surprise shock. You know, giving him the first NXT championship and or giving him the NXT championship, and I think he was really good. He came in like he could promo, he could wrestle, he could do all the stuff. And then I look at the rest of his career and I was like, Bo leave and all the rest of it from there, and just whoa,
he got hamstrung.
Yeah,
he got hamstrung when he came.
I
to the
think
main
that'd be
roster.
one of the biggest disappointments because he had all the tools.
All the tools. Yeah.
Can you imagine? God, if we could go back and just rebook Bo Dallas.
Sure, that's part two of the question. Who were you most disappointed in?
Yeah.
Not even because of them, but just like with like their potential versus where they went. Yeah. Anybody else?
Nope, that is it. Thank you very much, Mullet King, for your question.
Oh, thank God.
We're done with that. We can turn that music off. Unless somebody else asks another one and we have to turn it back on, you know.
No, God, please. I'm soaked.
Next up, Adon Ortega says, Hola, mis podmigos. Podmigos. I like that. I hope y'all are doing well and had a great 4th of July weekend. We did. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There's cardboard shrapnel because one of the neighbors literally across the street right in front of my house decided to set off what could be considered a Los Angeles grand finale on Sunday night. So that there's shrapnel all over my yard. And I'm wondering when the cleanup crew is going to come clean it up. Let's see. If you guys were given an opportunity to recast The Simpsons with various wrestlers, who would you choose? Who's your Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie? Are there any side characters that seem like perfect fits with certain wrestlers? Thank you, Adon. Okay.
Homer. I'm gonna go. Oh God, no! Why am I forgetting his name all of a sudden?
Otis.
No.
Well, old Otis, not new Otis.
Right. It's hold on. Give me a sec. JD Drake.
Okay.
From AEW, one of the wingmen.
Okay. What about Marge? I'd go Kevin Owens, by the way. Or old
For
Otis.
Marge?
No, sorry. Old Otis for Homer.
Okay. Marge,
Vicky Guerrero.
No. Vicky would be like Marge's sisters.
That's what I was thinking of.
Them chain smokers, they sit back there and they just talk like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because Marge, I would actually say would be like Bailey or someone like that. Like, well, good Bailey, not bad Bailey. Face
Hugger Bailey.
Yeah. Because Marge is the moral core of that show in a lot of ways, where she's always kind of on the moral, for the most part, on the moral right side of things, and she's very sweet and caring, and total baby face, and not an idiot. So yeah, like either face Bailey or God, who else in wrestling is even on a Marge level?
Dakota Kai when she wasn't a heel.
Maybe.
Yep. Actually, she might make a
not
good
mad
Lisa.
at that. Ooh, face Dakota would make a good Lisa. Yeah.
What about Bart? The big one. Voiced by a woman, for those that don't know.
Yeah, Nancy Cartwright. Man, this is one of the tougher castings that we've done. I'm completely flummoxed. See, Bart, I would think, would be Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
Like Kevin's a little too smart for Bart, but he's got the same kind of like aggressive mentality. Like just kind of being just kind of a shithead.
That's not bad, Kyle. The Miz.
Ooh, the Miz as Bart.
That wins
good.
For me.
Bart's never been quite that self-aggrandizing, but I'm not mad at that.
He has at times.
I'm not mad at that. Yeah, all right. Lisa, we said face Dakota
Yeah,
Kai.
Maggie, the baby.
What about Maggie? Maggie. Nikki Cross. Current Nikki Cross. Sweet and innocent, but God damn it, she will shoot your ass.
Adventurous.
If you push her the wrong way. Yeah.
There you go.
Other characters seem like perfect fits with certain wrestlers.
Who's Homer's friend, the drunk guy? Jimmy Uso.
Barney? Jim. Oh, no, Nick. Too soon. Oh, no. Bang, bang. Hey, you just fell on Aerosmith.
Please stop driving drunk, Jimmy. Please.
Hey, Homer. Yeah, he's also voiced by the same guy who does Homer, by the way. Anyway, I'm trying to find a Mrs. Krabappel or a Principal Skinner.
I'm trying to think of Mo.
Mo?
Just kind of sleazy, but also very like slick and good talker.
Seth Rollins.
Oh, it's perfect. Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is Mo.
Seth Rollins Tavin.
There you go.
Kevin Owens calling in to be like, hey, I'm looking for a my ass, lick my ass. Yeah, has anyone seen lick my ass? Hey, could anybody come over here and lick my ass?
That's a pretty good Hank Azaria.
Is there a
That's
lick
good.
my ass? Anyone? Anyway, there you go, Adon. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Adon. Next up, Jay Reyes says, okay, Jess already asked the question I was going to, so I have to go with another one. A few late submission for Ishii, seeing as he is the Stone Pit Bull.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. What kind of dog is Junkyard Dog?
A junkyard
He's
dog.
a junkyard dog.
He's a mutt.
Minoru Suzuki.
Jesus Christ.
I'm going to go, this is going to catch you out of left field. I'm going to go Chihuahua.
For Minoru Suzuki?
Here's why.
You realize he will find you and beat you to death with your own arms.
With a Chihuahua. I've been bitten twice by dogs. Like, for real. Both times it was Chihuahuas. And I didn't see it coming. Minoru Suzuki has kind of that, unless you're looking him in the eyes or you notice his crazy hair. Like, if he were just in plain clothes, you probably wouldn't see that he looks like a very normal Japanese man. But that son of a bitch will bite. So, I don't know. I was trying to be funny, but the more I think about it, it's kind of silly. I don't know. I was trying to think of something that is very unassuming, but very dangerous for Minoru Suzuki.
That's unassuming? Suzuki's not unassuming. You look at him, you go, that man's going to kill me.
When he's in trunks and wrestling boots and has his crazy hair out, but put him in plain clothes and...
That's true. And he's like an all fan of One Piece and everything, and he's just so adorable.
That's not a word I would ever use to describe Minoru Suzuki.
I've got pictures.
Also, Chihuahuas have like the crazy eyes, and they just look kind of strange sometimes. Anyway, that would be mine. Who would be a Chow Chow? Big, puffy, floofy things that shed everywhere.
Bull Nakano.
There you go. Okay, so on to his new question. I love McDonald's. I don't eat it every day, but maybe once a month special treat thing. Same here. As well as other fast food places, I don't understand the hate Mickey D's gets a lot of times. But hey, to each their own, I guess. Burger King, Carl's Jr., In-N-Out, Checkers, Sonic, and because I'm Filipino and half Japanese, I have a huge love for Jollibee.
Oh, yeah.
Fried chicken at Jollibee. It always surprised me when I would go to different countries and McDonald's had stuff there that the USA didn't have. For example, in the Philippines, McDonald's has rice and spaghetti on the menu. Even the burgers
in Japan
taste different. Since we haven't had any
Japan,
food-related questions
McDonald's
in a
is
while,
legit.
name some countries with restaurants where you would like to try the food items and see how they differ from in America and what items. Thanks, boys. BWO for life. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, brother. That's a great question.
I've had McDonald's and Burger King in England and Europe, and he's right. The beef tastes completely different.
In a good way or a bad way?
Better. Like there's like it's
like there's real meat in it, and it's not made from yellow or pink paste or whatever it is.
Pink slime, whatever they call the nuggets. But no, it tastes good, and they call the Big Mac is called. It's not the Royale with cheese thing from Pulp Fiction. It's called the McBurger or something more generic.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. It's the same special sauce, 2 patties, 2 buns, all that stuff.
Well, it's like how Burger King in Australia, probably because their feelings about the monarchy, is called Hungry Jack.
Okay.
And the first time I went there, I was going to go get like a Jumbo Jack, but then I realized it was not
Jack in the Box.
Australian Jack in the Box. It's Australian Burger King. Yeah. But no, I was saying earlier, dude, McDonald's in Japan is legit as hell.
It's not
like,
Wagyu beef or anything, but
No, but part of it is the amount of attention to detail put into each order. Like, do you remember in Falling Down where he goes in and there's the beautiful picture of the burger up on the menu, and he orders the burger and it's like this sloppy little piece of crap in his box. He's like, is there a problem here? Like, why does this not look like that?
Movie.
In Japan, it looks like that. It looks like
like what's in the pictures.
Delicious pictures. Yeah, it's crazy, and it tastes amazing. Also, Road Taco Bell is better than City Taco Bell. Don't ask me why.
What?
But if you're on the road, like little Taco Bells in the middle of nowhere are better than Taco Bells in the city. This is not anecdotal. This is supported by research.
Oh, actual firsthand experience research.
Firsthand experience. So what other countries would you like to go to and just see how things are different? I'm kind of curious about
Korea?
How McDonald's is. Russia.
Oh, that's a good one.
Russian Mickey D's. Like, are the Russians getting our best burgers, or are we just giving them like crappier McDonald's and they're just really happy because, hey, it's McDonald's?
There has been a boost in fast food in somewhat, I'll say the friendly Middle Eastern countries. So the Emirates, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi, Jordan. Like there's been a huge Saudi Arabia to an extent. There's been a boost in fast food over there. They have KFC and Pizza Hut and Burger King and all that stuff over there too. I'd be curious to see what it's like in the middle of the desert. Like, where are they sourcing their beef from? Do they have burgers at all, or is it mostly like chicken? I don't know. It'd be an interesting journey.
I got very curious about something. Hamburgers are made with beef. What the hell does McDonald's do in India?
Good point.
One of the biggest markets in the world. So I just pulled up McDonald's India.
Oh, they have the menu?
Yeah. They have the Makalu Tiki Burger, which is a golden fried vegetarian patty prepared with peas, tomato, and infused with aromatic spices, clubbed with sliced tomatoes, shredded red onion, and tangy tomato mayonnaise.
Now I know why all the fast food joints are getting in bed with Beyond Burger and Impossible Burger. Now it all makes sense.
There's a dosa masala burger. Yeah. A turmeric spice mashed potato filling topped with fresh peas. So it's McVeggie burger, a McChicken, the Filet-O-Fish, that no doubt. The McSpicy Paneer. It's a paneer patty with creamy tandoori sauce and crispy lettuce topping. I want
that.
This.
Sounds amazing.
It sounds fantastic. The McSpicy Chicken. Okay. Spicy paneer wrap. So yeah, it's not vegetarian necessarily, but it's okay. The vegetarian Maharaja Mac.
Whoa.
It's their Big Mac. Double-decker toasted Maharaja bun sandwiched with one layer of corn and cheese patty. Crunchy iceberg lettuce, shredded onion, and a slice of cheese, topped with another layer of corn and cheese patty, tomato slices, and crunchy iceberg lettuce infused with habanero sauce.
Whoa. What's
so
this habanero sauce you speak of? I'd like to have some of that.
This all sounds fantastic. And then a McEgg. So, yeah. McDonald's India sounds fascinating.
I always laugh when they try to market the Impossible and Beyond Burgers to an American audience, and I've always wondered if there was an agenda there. Now I get it. Even some of the Middle Eastern countries are largely vegetarian, in India as well, and even Southeast Asia to a certain extent doesn't eat a lot of beef. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting here,
and fries, potatoes not really a thing. You get rice. So no, Jay, my answer going to be India, because I just looked at that menu and now
you want Indian food.
I'm probably going to get Indian food for dinner tonight. That's now I need some.
But
I need
yeah,
some
respect for Jolly B. We don't get that out here on the East Coast. That's a West Coast thing. It's mostly an LA thing, I believe.
You got to work for it here.
You got to drive all the way to Glendale, I believe, to get it.
I don't even know where
there's one in the valley. I think it's Glendale. Is we used to go to one. One of my best friend's wife is Filipino, and her family would come to town, and that's where they wanted to go. It's the only place they wanted to go was Jollibee, but it's Filipinos, right?
I ain't going to goddamn Glendale. But thank you very much, Jay. Very much appreciated, dude.
Thank you, sir. Next up, Dubstep Rob Hutchins says, hello, gents. I would like your thoughts on three-person tag teams. For me, they can be a dicey proposition. However, if done correctly, I think they can bring a lot to storyline. My requirements for it to work requirements for it to work. Number one, stakes, and by stakes I mean belts. 2, multiple legit factions in a company, and 3, defend the belts and move them on a regular basis.
So basically, any division in any company.
Yeah. I think New Japan does an okay job with this, but I would like to see them elevated a little bit more. I think it could work for AEW with 2 shows now. If you agree, who are the top factions in AEW that should be seeking them? Many thanks. Dubstep Rob, Grand Patron, Pick'em's champion.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Rob. Very much, sir.
Yes. We've been talking about trios titles pretty much ever since Lucha Underground and New Japan has them. Why haven't they been more widely implemented?
Well, in the case of New Japan, they're just not treated as seriously. They are used as the openers to shows. They're like it's rare that you know who has the actual belts. They're rarely carried. If New Japan treated those belts more seriously, if they were put higher on the card, if you made some effort into making the teams mean more in storyline and put them more in the faces of the audience, they would be a bigger deal because they've got belts. They have legit teams. You can make legit teams easily with all the factions. But they don't really defend the belts that often. They don't have a lot of competition in the trios division. It's just they're there as like a sideshow because Japan is traditionally about one-on-one competition. Even the tag division over there is kind of secondary or tertiary. But in the case of AEW, they are ripe to have a trios division, and it would really help them because they have such an enormous tag division as it is, and
a lot of those are at least 3-person or more roster factions.
Exactly, half or more are 3-person factions, right? You can have them be really quickly 3-person factions, whether it's Best Friends, Jurassic Express, etc.
You know the other thing AEW's done really well, they haven't siloed people into divisions. Like you're still seeing competition cross over into the different pieces of it.
Yeah, you can have tag team wrestlers who come out as singles wrestlers, like Dante Martin this last week. You can have guys come out and they'll say like he's primarily a tag team wrestler. Oh, this guy, Pac, Penta, and Phoenix are primarily singles wrestlers, but they teamed up to try to get more opportunities, whether they be tag title belts or possibly if they go for trios, then there's more opportunities for belts for these different factions to go after. And if you think about logically, if this were a real competition company, if you were an athlete, you wanted to be Bo Jackson and you could go for the singles titles, if there's multiple titles you could go for, you'd want to go for all of them. You may not be the best tag team wrestler, but shoot your shot. Figure out where you can get on the card. Why not? So that would make more sense. So what are the top factions in AEW that should be seeking them? I think is what he asked. And I think I named off 3 right off the top of my head. That would be big ones.
Jungle Express. What were the ones you named?
Jurassic Express, Best Friends, and Death Triangle. Right off the top of my head, would be factions that I would send in there.
Dark Order.
Dark Order would be guys you could send in there. The Hardy front office has a couple different ones. You could send in some iteration of both the Factory and the Nightmare family. There a bunch of those bigger factions have trios that you could make, but I think
Pinnacle and Inner Circle in there,
Personally, I think the number one ones to get a shot should be Best Friends, just because I don't see Orange Cassidy winning the TNT championship anytime soon. I don't see him winning the big championship anytime soon, but put a belt on the man. He's money. He brings eyes. So that'd be one way to do it and bring his boys with him.
True.
You have PNP and Jake Hager get in the mix. Any of these teams that just can't quite get into the mix of the tag team division, throw them over in the trios. Throw them in the Freebird division.
Love it.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Rob. Next up, Mr. Martin Welch says, good day, fine pod peoples. Hope all is well in your worlds. Life
Thank
is
you.
okay in sunny-ish South London. We have decided that they are going to do a Dusty Classic on the main roster. Nick must name 4 teams from SmackDown and Ian from Raw. So 4 from SmackDown. Do we have 8 tag teams in the whole company?
Do you have? You mean no? 4 teams from SmackDown. So you have to find 8 wrestlers from SmackDown. That's it. You've got that.
Okay. So I've got SmackDown. You've got Raw.
Yeah.
I mean, Street Profits.
But he said that they
Dirty
don't. They have to be
Dogs?
current wrestlers, but they don't have to be in teams.
The teams must all be current wrestlers, but they don't have to currently be in teams. So 2 singles are allowed.
So you can
Okay.
make 2 singles into a team. Is what he's saying.
Yeah, Kyle. Basically the entire tag division. Yeah.
Right. No, this is mix and match anybody in, like, make singles teams if you want on SmackDown. Have Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins team up as like Shield, 2/3 of the Shield or whatever.
Well, shit. That opens a can of worms.
It does, doesn't it?
So I mean, we've got to have Ray and Dominic in there. Got to have the Street Profits, Dirty Dogs, and I'm trying to think of who one team would be that I'm pairing up. I mean, given the new, I would have said the Usos. Put the Usos back in the tag division because we haven't really seen that yet. But after the news of Jimmy,
well, yeah.
yeah, screwed that pooch. I don't know, man. Name yours off for Raw. I'm trying to think of 2 single stars that would make a good tag team on SmackDown.
Raw. I'm gonna go. Okay, so I'm gonna take 2 pre-existing tag teams, New Day and RK Bro.
Okay.
I want to see both of those in there. As for the rest, I'm gonna split up a current tag team and make it into a different tag team. I'm gonna have AJ O'Shea,
Okay.
which is AJ and Ricochet, and 2MB, which is Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal.
Interesting. Okay. It's an interesting. You gonna flip him back to the Scottish psychopath?
No, I'll make Jinder face.
That makes no sense.
Jinder could be a great face. I'll stand by that.
I mean, I think I'm going to stick with Alpha Academy. It makes the most sense right now.
Okay, so you've got Alpha Academy,
Street Profits, Dirty Dogs,
Right.
and Usos. Well,
You're
not
sticking
Usos.
with so you're sticking mostly
I'm
with
sticking
the
with the tag teams because they're all pretty well established at this point.
All right. I guess I could have gone Viking Raiders, but
War Machine.
I don't know. I'm not very invested in the Viking experience at the moment.
No.
All right. So who's your last one over there on SmackDown? You have a lot of singles wrestlers.
I
you
did
could
4,
use.
I thought, because I had
Alpha Academy, Street Profits, Dirty Dogs, and you said Usos, but oh no, can't use Usos because
thanks, Jimmy.
Jimmy gone to jail. Yeah.
I thought I said 3 and then added Alpha Academy.
I mean, you've got Kevin Owens, you've got Apollo Crews, Big E,
I would team up
Rey
in an
Mysterio,
interesting twist like you did.
Baron
You did
Corbin.
with Drew and Jinder. I'm going to team up Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Wow, I like that.
Yep.
that. Okay. There you go. What we say? He said, "Roll to see who wins."
Oh no, I didn't. Did he say that?
Did he?
Then roll to see who wins. Yeah, he did. Okay.
Okay.
So did we have to? Did you
Here we go.
bracketize this?
I did not. Are we rolling within our brand and then the champions face each other? Is that what we're doing?
Okay. Let me get a pen real quick.
Or are we going? I'll just go down the list here. Just
What
AJ
is
Ricochet
that?
versus
That's a
Alpha
medical
Academy.
bill. I don't need that. All right.
All right, so let's tell you what. We'll go down the list I have for you here. You have Alpha Academy, Street Profits, Dirty Dogs, KO, and Sammy. I've got AJ Ricochet, Drew Jinder, RK Bro, and New Day. So in that order, we'll go down. We'll roll for who wins, and then we'll figure out at the end who is.
So at the end, we're going to get a
grand
brand
champion.
versus brand, basically.
I don't know what we're going to get. Let's
Okay.
just go. AJ and Ricochet versus Alpha Academy. 1, 2, 3. AJ Ricochet, 18.
I got 3.
Oh my goodness.
That's totally how I would book it too. There's no way they're beating AJ and Ricochet.
There's no exactly. AJ and Ricochet move on to round 2. Drew and Jinder Mahal versus the Street Profits. 1, 2, come on, 3. 19 for Drew and Jinder
6.
Mahal. Oh my goodness.
That's the way to book that too.
Also the way to book that too. Raw is running away with it right now. RK Bro versus the Dirty Dogs. 1, 2, 3. RK Bro gets a 9. A 9.
Yeah.
RK Bro.
Very even match.
Not working out so well, RK Bro, but still able to pull it out over the Dirty Dogs, also as it should be. New Day, that being Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This match would rock ass. This match would rock ass. New Day versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on a 1 and a 2 and a 3. 14 for the New Day. Oh my God, SmackDown gets swept by Raw. What in the world is going on? All right, well now you got to roll for Raw here. We have AJ and Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal.
Okay, who am I rolling for?
You're going to be Drew. You're Drew and Jinder. 1, 2, 3. AJ Ricochet get an 8. Oh my goodness, malfunction
18.
at the junction. Oh, Drew and Jinder just steamroll AJ and Ricochet. I'm gonna say that Ricochet is probably the one laying down for that one. It's Drew McIntyre. He's winning this one. RK Bro versus New Day. I'll be rolling for RK
Another
Bro.
match
You roll
that
for
put
New
it in
Day.
my freaking eye holes.
This would also rock ass. RK Bro versus New Day. 1, 2, 3. Only a 6 for RK Bro.
5.
Oh my God.
Very even match.
Both teams in disarray, but ultimately it looks like RK Bro smokes the competition. Coming down to the final match, Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal, 2MB versus RK Bro. I'll roll for Drew and Jinder. You roll for RK Bro. 1, 2. The finals of the Dusty Classic, Drew and Jinder versus RK Bro. That's
nice.
Not a bad finals. I'm not mad at that, actually. 1, 2, 3. Drew and Jinder with a 15.
14.
Oh, that was a close one. What a great final match. Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal ultimately are your main roster Dusty Classic winners because you can't have Drew McIntyre lose goddamn anything.
Right.
But it also shows that 2MB is a tag team to be feared. Well, there you go, Martin. There is your main roster Dusty Classic.
I would actually love to watch that. The more we actually kind of fantasy book that out, I would love to see that tournament.
Actually, probably how it would go. Actually, the dice never lie. The dice never lie. Brian Cage, by the way, Brian Cage. If you know, you know.
Thank you very much, Martin. Next up, Billy Stickler says, gentlemen, no question this week. Just coming by to say thanks for the content and give a review. I ordered the BWO cartoon hoodie and the red version of the shirt. Holy hell, they are comfy as hell. Everyone should buy one. I plan on buying more. I don't like long sleeves, but the hoodie is terrific. And the shirt is top notch. If laundry being done lines up, I'll be wearing that when I go to my first post-pandemic wrestling show.
Yeah.
WWE is coming to town. That's right. They're coming to Denver. I believe that's where Billy's at. And I will be there. I paid a hefty price, but I went all out. It's quality. That's why we're not putting junk on you guys. Ringside, front row, center. It's a super show, house show to my knowledge, so nothing televised. But if the cameras are rolling, I'll be repping the show regardless.
Thank you. That's awesome. What a great place to be, man. That's the way to go.
If you'd like to get yours, you can head over to bwomerch.com and find all of the various options. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Billy, very much for repping the gear, man. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.
Next up, Brian Average says, greetings and salutations, gentlemen. I have 2 questions for you this week. First, for Ian, which is more frustrating, Spectrum's internet service or how WWE Creative has handled The Fiend?
Ooh, that's a really good question because WWE's been screwing The Fiend for years, and Spectrum has also been prison raping me for a number of years now.
Pretty much anybody in Los Angeles has been taking it up the ass from Time Warner.
Yeah,
for decades.
Pardon the expression. Yeah. Pardon the expression. But what's more frustrating? You know, I'm going to say Spectrum, and largely because I feel like there's a possible redemption for the Fiend. Whereas even if Spectrum does get my internet service back online, which it kind of has now, they're still a rancid dumpster fire turtle turd of a company. And that's never really going to change. Whereas I truly do feel like they could redeem the Fiend, and that could be a cool character at some point. Again, there is good in the Fiend. The Fiend at one point was good. Spectrum was always shit. It will always be shit. It's just it will be less shit than it sometimes is.
Well said. I know the pain with a trash internet provider. 2 weeks ago, it went out for over a 24-hour period, and I have to rely on them since I work from home. Yeah. Now on to the actual...
That's what personal hotspots are for.
Now on to the actual question. In an alternate universe, New Japan comes to an agreement with WWE for a working relationship, but with NXT. You're chosen to build a 7-match pay-per-view for bragging rights. They can be either singles or tag matches. What 7 matches would you make, and who would win each match? In a NXT New Japan crossover. This goes back to like what... was it Ring of Honor in New Japan that used to do those crossover pay-per-views?
Yes.
2-3 years ago?
Yes.
So kind of in that vein.
Rev Pro,
yeah,
too.
True.
Right off the bat, Kushida versus Hiromu Takahashi. I know it's a low-hanging fruit, but I'm going to go for it. Actually, hold on. Fatal 4-way. Kushida versus Kyle O'Reilly versus Hiromu versus El Phantasmo.
Oh.
Your turn.
Grizzled Young Vets versus the Gorillas of Destiny.
GYV versus GOD.
Yeah.
Not mad at that.
Put it on the poster.
Finn Balor versus Okada.
Finn Balor.
Bit of Prince Devitt coming back around, baby.
You wouldn't have him go after like Karrion Kross or something like that?
No.
You put Finn Balor.
Okada versus Karrion Kross.
Yeah. Money Clip versus the choke sleeper.
The cross jacket.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've seen it.
All right. Balor versus Okada? Not in the current iteration.
That's true.
This is jacked up Prince Devitt like we've never seen him before. Come on now. Who else in NXT would you want to see face Okada? Adam Cole, maybe? But Adam Cole's not what he once was either. I don't know.
I mean, a year ago I would have said Keith Lee versus Okada.
That wouldn't have been bad. I would have preferred. We already saw Keith Lee versus Ishii.
Not recently.
Yeah, in Rev Pro, like right before he signed with WWE.
Oh, 5 years ago.
I'll send you the match. Well, no, it was like 3 years ago. 2, maybe even 2. I'll send you the match. It was good.
NXT. See, you took Hiromu already, and I would have put Swerve Scott versus Hiromu.
Not mad at that.
Killshot versus Hiromu. Who's like one of the best? I'm trying to think. Who would be good for Kota Ibushi? Because he's another crazy...
maybe Swerve. Maybe Swerve.
Yeah, okay, so you took Hiromu. I'll do Swerve Scott versus Kota Ibushi.
Okay.
Instead.
I've got Pete Dunne versus Minoru Suzuki.
Oh, God. Yes. Oh, God, yes.
Or Thatcher. Actually, triple threat. Thatcher. But I've seen Thatcher versus Suzuki. It's really good. I haven't seen Pete Dunne versus Suzuki. Yeah, Pete Dunne. Or triple threat. Dunne, Ciampa, Suzuki.
Bronson Reed versus Evil. That's one I would book. Big boys.
I might actually be more into Swerve as opposed to Ibushi. Swerve versus Naito.
I can do that, and then we'll throw Gargano at Ibushi.
Ooh. Yeah, I agree.
Or instead of Tanahashi, you could do Naito. Swerve, Naito, Coda. Who did I say? Gargano.
Yeah, so Kota Ibushi versus Johnny
That's
Gargano.
good, Kyle. Bronson Reed versus Jeff Cobb. There you go.
We've actually seen it, Nick. We were live for that at
Jonah Rock versus Jeff Cobb. Yeah.
Jeff Cobb. Yeah, we saw that live. It was good. It was actually very good. Cobb versus Reed is a good match.
Big boys doing big boy shit. Well, there you go, Brian. That's a pay-per-view.
You can make a bunch.
I would pay $100 to watch that pay-per-view.
You can make a bunch.
Yeah.
How about you got Swerve versus Naito? How about throw in? We already got a four-way, but Swerve versus Naito. You could throw in Santos in there too, and that'd be money.
Oh God.
There's so much good talent on both rosters.
Man, what a good pay-per-view that would be.
I would actually instead of Bronson Reed versus Evil, I'd go Bronson Reed versus Ishii.
I think Jeff Cobb. Well, we've seen Jeff Cobb already, I guess, is the point you're making.
Cobb.
Yeah. Okay. Ishii, I wouldn't be mad at.
Nope.
That'd be awesome. Thank you very much, Brian. There you go, my man. I think that's more than 7, honestly.
Oh, yes.
That's a hell of a card. Next up, Kyle Cotton. Since we finally have a week in which we don't have a bunch of business side news, it's time for a fun question. I'm going to give you a list of songs, and you have to match it to a wrestling storyline to make a pay-per-view hype package for it.
Oh, my goodness.
You can have it remixed however you want and covered by whoever you want. The important thing here is lyrics and flow that match the story. I don't know that I know the lyrics to all of these songs.
Oh? What's the
I've
what are
never
the songs?
listened to Billie Eilish.
What is that?
Uh-oh.
It's going to be like that, huh?
The Soggy Bottom Boys?
Yeah, I am the man of constant sorrow from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I am a man of constant sorrow.
Okay.
I seen trouble on the way.
Got it. All right, so the very first one is God Was Never on Your Side by Motorhead. Whose pay-per-view hype package are we making that for? Or using that for?
That's going to be Dustin Rhodes versus Miro.
Oh. God, I want that.
Dustin Rhodes versus Miro. God was never on your side, boy.
Police Truck by the Dead Kennedys. I don't know. I've heard some of the Dead Kennedys, but I don't know if I know that song.
It's a great song. It's a great song. Big Boss Man versus Braun Strowman.
Jesus. That's a crossover. Bad Guy by Billie Eilish.
Eilish. I do not know the song.
I don't either.
So I am uneducated.
We're gonna skip that one, Kyle. Time in a Bottle.
Who's that by?
Google Time in a Bottle. Not Message in a Bottle. Jim Croce.
Jim Croce. Okay.
All right.
From what I know of Jim Croce's work, and I don't know this one, but I do know.
I'd play it if we wouldn't get DMCA striked here on Twitch.
Yeah, no kidding. He's mostly like a folk singer. Can you hype up a match to a folk song?
Well, Cameron Grimes, you probably could.
There you go. So Cameron Grimes maybe versus maybe this is the $1 Million Man one.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know the lyrics to the song at all.
No.
Cameron Grimes versus Swerve Scott, Time in a Bottle.
Let's see. If I could save you time if I could save. Oh, is it that? It's not that song. If I could save time in a bottle, first thing that I'd like to do. Is it that song?
I don't know what song that is either. What just happened? What is going on?
I feel like I don't know. I was trying to look at the lyrics and get a gist for what it's about.
Oh, I see. He's saying you can remix them. Oh, okay. So Limp Bizkit remix of Time in a Bottle by Jim Croce for this time gonna be in a bottle. Yeah.
And Saliva is going to be covering Police Truck by the Dead Kennedys. It's 2003 again, everybody.
Here's Bad Guy by Billie Eilish, covered by Drowning
Right,
Pool.
exactly. The fifth one, The Great Pretender by Freddie Mercury.
That's a cover. Is he doing a cover there? Isn't the Great Pretender already a song? Or was he doing his own version?
Since they have a song called The Pretender, I'm going to have Foo Fighters cover this one in a remix for Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn.
Yeah, he does the cover of the original version. The Platters was the original version. Oh, yes, I'm the great pretender, pretending that I'm doing well.
Yep.
Yeah,
I know,
you know that one.
I know it when I hear it, yeah.
But who would that be for? Someone flamboyant, someone big, maybe like a Dalton Castle.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Dalton Castle versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Freaking yes, dude. That's awesome.
There you go.
Okay, there you go.
Time Has Come Today by the Chamber Brothers.
I do not know that song.
song.
Don't know that song at all.
Let's see if the lyrics "Time Has Come Today" is that lyrics? Yeah. I don't care what I say. They say, "Hey, the rules have changed. Hey, the say, hey." Thinking about the subway.
That's very entertaining. You just going.
Hey, my tears are coming on. Hey, oh, nothing's. Yeah.
I'm sure if I heard the song, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that song," but it's not popping in my
you're
head
gonna get
right
the next
away.
one.
Okay.
So sorry, we got to skip that. I don't know that one. Number 7. Here comes the hot step up, murderer.
Murderer. He's the lyrical gangster.
Murderer.
Excuse me, Mr. Officer.
Murderer.
Still love me like
Murderer.
that.
That was so accurate. We're actually probably going to get a DMCA strike because we played the song.
Let's we multiply. That's the whitest we've ever been on this show, right there, Nick. Who the hell
Every
comes out
club
to
full
that
of white
song?
people in 1998 was playing that song at full volume.
Oh, no kidding.
Here Comes the Hot Stepper, remixed by T-Pain.
Oh, Lord.
To introduce Big E.
Versus Kofi
Done.
Kingston.
For the WWE Championship.
Big E versus Kofi for the WWE Champion. Here comes the hot stepper.
There
Okay.
you go.
That's so weird.
Finally, All the Things She Said by Poppy.
Don't know that one.
I don't know it.
Something from NXT because it's Poppy. Io Shirai versus somebody.
Zoe Stark eventually turns on Io, and that's their
There
song.
you go. Yeah.
For the final two, just to ramp up the difficulty, Rocky Road to Dublin.
Oh, they're going to be harder?
What? Yeah.
They're going to be harder.
You might know these. Rocky Road to Dublin. You work at an Irish bar. You better know these.
Yes,
Rocky Road to
I know this
Dublin
one.
by the Dubliners. The Dubliners.
That's got to be the Dubliners. Yeah. That's got to be Finn Balor versus
Yes.
Sheamus.
You read my mind. And I Am a Man of Constant Sorrow by the Soggy Bottom Boys.
That is going to be.
What was the one I told you about the other day that Children of Bodom covered?
I don't know.
Did you not see that text?
Oh, maybe.
Children of Bodom's cover of Shipping Up to Boston, the song from
Departed.
They have Children of Bodom have a metal cover of it, and it's
okay.
fantastic.
So I'd say Children of Bodom covering "I'm a Man of Constant Sorrow," but that ain't gonna happen because Layla passed away earlier this year. Yeah, so that ain't gonna happen. But okay, how about "I'm a Man of Constant Sorrow"? Redone, covered by Dimmu Borgir for the debut match of Tommy End in AEW versus Cody Rhodes.
Andrade.
Or, that'd just be a cool match, but I just like the idea that, I'm the Man of Constant Sorrow, Tommy End versus Cody, remixed by Dimmu Borgir. There you go.
There you go. He also puts in here a note to Nick's adventure into anime. I feel we recommended series for you to start with that aren't necessarily indicative of the storytelling they do. Ninja Scroll and Fist of the North Star are excessive even by today's standards, though they have a prominent place in the history here for anime in the West. So I've been watching back some recommendations that people have made. I feel shows like Outlaw Star, G Gundam, and if you're willing to be patient for about 13 episodes of character development, Yu Yu Hakusho are recommendations I would make to judge if anime is for you.
Be patient.
So
he wasn't willing to be patient for 20 minutes of Ninja
like
Scroll.
12 minutes. I made it in. I was like, this isn't for me.
Oh my god.
Here's what I've gotten so far. I'm literally pulling it up right now. I've gotten the Big O, Cowboy Bebop, My Hero Academia, Robotech, Rurouni Kenshin, Sengoku Basara, Yu Yu Hakusho is one of those, and Voltron, because I did watch some Voltron in the 80s. So those are the ones that I've gotten my hands on that I'm going to start working through. Any one of those ring out. He did mention Yu Yu Hakusho and Outlaw Star. I do have those.
Battleship Yamato too. I'll throw in there, but if you want like the 80s stuff like Voltron,
you guys realize this is going to take me about like 2.5 years to work through, right? Yeah,
probably.
So, but I'm going to start. So if you want a fun project to do, stack rank those in which order I should watch them, Kyle. Let me know in Discord or something.
Hey, perfect.
There you go. So those are the shows that I've gotten my hands on so far. Let's see. Feel free to get in for a second opinion here. Also, since I know you like Vikings, I would recommend Vinland Saga if you are okay with subtitles, but it was licensed by Amazon who won't dub anything. I hope this leads to a better experience for you. Thank you, Kyle.
Subs, not dubs. Subs, not dubs, unless it's the streamlined version of Akira or the original dubbed for Ninja Scroll. But typically, subs, not dubs. But yeah, no, he's right. Vinland Saga is pretty cool.
It's good. Thank you, Kyle. And finally, Mr. Patrick Kennedy says, hello, Phenomenal Ones and Phenomenal Pod Fathers. My question this week is, do you think it is possible Kofi beats Lashley, but a heel wins Money in the Bank earlier in the night and cashes in on Kofi to get that extra heel heat? Hope everyone has a great week. Thank you for the amazing content. Thank you, Patrick.
That would be nuclear heat, and probably not the heat they want to get, just because having Kofi win and then get screwed that quickly would feel too similar to the 14-second loss to Brock Lesnar. 7-second loss to Brock Lesnar.
That's exactly where I was going to go. That's the last thing they want to do with Kofi. I think it would be compelling if Big E won. And like, I've fantasy booked myself into believing it's really possible now from what I was saying earlier on the main show. Like, if Big E wins Money in the Bank and cashes in later on a beaten down Bobby Lashley after Kofi couldn't get the job done, and then you have an interesting story that you could twist and manipulate, but that Kofi wasn't good enough, but Big E came in and took his moment, you know?
Counterpoint, though, if Big E, he said, Patrick's here saying, what if a heel cashes in on Kofi after he wins? I think the only way they could do that is if it were a turn. If Big E comes down to celebrate with Kofi and then lays him out, cashes in and steals it from him.
Yes. There would have to be that relationship there for it to work.
Right. There'd have to be something before that. It couldn't, like Baron Corbin couldn't just do it.
I've actually got chills thinking about that. That could be so good.
But imagine if like we're celebrating, we're like, wow, the two members of the New Day, they're now champion and the Money in the Bank holder, like, and Big E's like, no, man, don't worry about it. You ain't nothing to worry about. Hey, we go. Okay, we're raising our hands, and then he turns on him,
lays him out with the briefcase, hands it to the ref. 1, 2, 3. He's the champion.
And that live audience, you have the live audience there, and everyone just goes, no,
nuclear,
no, Big E, no. That's the one way it would be amazing,
because that starts a program that would go on probably till WrestleMania.
Huge. Big E's the champion. You got a program with him and Kofi that just became absolutely white hot.
Xavier Rhodes is the man in the middle getting pulled in both directions, right?
The promos you'd have, the storylines you could have from that would be goddamn spectacular. But that's the only way that having someone cash in on Kofi immediately would work.
It'd have to be a Big E heel turn after that.
Also, I don't know how the hell he beats Lashley, but whatever.
After who beats Lashley? Oh, Kofi.
Kofi. Yeah. There ought to be something going on there.
Totally.
But there you go.
There we go. And with that, Another episode of the BWO Mailbag is in the books.
Hey!
Woohoo! Oh, my goodness. Oh, we made it. Thank you guys so much for another amazing show. We love doing these. Thank you guys for all the questions. If you'd like to get your questions in every single week, you can head over to patreon.com/BWO. All you got to be in is that $5 tier. Or, conversely, you could go to youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Again, hit that join button right at the bottom of the video right here and sign up for the $5 tier on YouTube. So you get emojis, Patreon rewards, all kinds of good stuff as well. We have the $10 bonus tier on YouTube now as well. To line up with Patreon. So either way, you could do your you could get access to the bonus episodes as well. Speaking of which, this Thursday, we will be recording your bonus episode for June. We're a week late. I'm sorry. Scheduling.
Nick.
What?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing. We're doing it this Thursday.
Yeah, you're getting it this Thursday. Sorry.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
Just apologizing for being late. We know we owe you
fun.
one.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's coming. It's coming. So lots to look in store for. And then we'll be back Friday talking about what goes down on SmackDown and what happened tonight on NXT and what happened tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite. But guys, that is it. Linktree.com/BWO. That's where all the links to all the things are. Make sure you head over there. Thumbs up the videos. Follow all our channels. Share the content with all your friends and family that are wrestling fans. We appreciate it. Thank you guys for sharing BWO with everybody else. It's the way to get eyes on the content right here, and we really do appreciate you guys. So thank you for that.
Yep. The more eyes, the more content. The more eyes, the more eyes we get, the more we do. The more we can do with the show.
Self-fulfilling prophecy, you could say, right?
That's right. You want more of us? Go tell more people about us, and you'll get more of us. That's how it works.
But until next time, my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
My God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.